Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Danielle. I love Chicago, by the way.
Okay, so you're a fan. What's your favorite places when you come here?
I was there. I went on the riverboat tour. I loved that. I went and had the famous. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but where they have the deep dish pizza.
Gino Giordano's,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I had that.
the
That was
big
phenomenal.
pizza.
Yeah, and I got to listen to some amazing blues music as well, live music, which was fantastic. So I've worked there a couple times and I've had a great time.
Oh, cool. It's a great city. Hopefully, when we're open again, we'll be able to enjoy it again. So, congratulations on an incredible performance in this film. Like I was saying, I was so moved by this film for so many different reasons. And I was just really struck. I really think your character and Malcolm X's character were some of the most complex to even try to portray because they've been done before. And what I noticed with you is you play such a different Muhammad Ali. Like this Muhammad Ali that in front of the camera is very bold and brash and the way we all knew him to be, but behind the scenes with his friends, he's just trying to figure out the world and figure out his spirituality and where he wants to go. And having Malcolm kind of as his mentor was almost it was very innocent and almost childlike in certain scenes. How did you approach playing that part of Muhammad Ali, which is not something that's discussed or even shown quite a bit?
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of research and really looking into um, the multiple dimensions of his character. I read a book called Blood Brothers that talked about his relationship with Malcolm X, and it goes into that a lot about that he was still, even though he's wise beyond his years, he was still just a very young man when he met
Yeah,
Malcolm. He was still a teenager, and then he was only 22 when he became the world's world champion.
right.
And the most famous athlete at that time, and so even though on the outside as a fighter he definitely had that confidence and that self-assuredness um, that you need to have as a fighter, because you're getting in that ring, alone by yourself. But at the same time, there were a lot of things that he was concerned about. The Nation of Islam was both a support, but also a very powerful entity that had a lot of influence, and
Hmm.
you know so he had to balance that. And then his friendship with Malcolm was something that, this is why it's so important. A lot of people say, I don't read anything or watch anything past the time when when the film was happening that I was watching. Well, if I had done that, then I would have never seen that years later in interviews. Muhammad Ali said that one of the biggest regrets of his life
Yeah,
was that he left that relationship and that he didn't defend Malcolm, and that at the time he didn't know how to say it. He felt so much pressure,
yeah.
so that's something that I could incorporate into my performance, even though
Mm.
if I had just watched that period of time, I would have never known that that's where he ended. That's actually how he was feeling, but he couldn't say it until decades later. So I think, yeah, just a lot of research and a lot of diligence to try and honor, his legacy.
I thought you played. I love the transition of the different individual. You guys individual transitions. You have Malcolm X who's transitioning to leaving the Nation of Islam after discovering the man that he idolized was flawed and imperfect. And then you have this between you and Malcolm, where you guys are trying to make a decision of where your friendship goes to the next, what level does it go to? And you brought up a good point because it immediately came to my recollection that that was one of his biggest regrets. And as I was watching the film, the way you guys interacted and portrayed that scene just kind of hit me in the gut because at the end of the day, they're two icons, but they're just two friends.
Hmm.
They were
Yeah,
two friends, and I think that theme of the film is what I enjoyed the most because you do not get to see these intimate relationships between black men portrayed this way. They were iconic, but they at the end of the day were four friends
hmm,
hanging out after the fight. You know, that's kind of how I took it. So with that, that kind of overall theme of brotherhood and friendship, what was it like collaborating between the four of you guys to capture that brotherhood, all while being directed by a Black woman? What was that like?
I mean, I think for us to connect, it was really about connecting to these men and their stories, and then connecting to the material and fully committing ourselves. Because once we did that, the connection of those men naturally occurred. Like once we were
Mm,
fully invested in portraying them, their natural friendship through the words that Kemp wrote immersed.
mm.
And as far as being directed by Regina, I mean, there was no one else that could have done what she did. I really believe that she's just immensely and indescribably talented, such a great leader, so graceful, such a great communicator, um, and someone who just really had a vision, for what she wanted this film to be. It's essentially four different stories, and each one of us came in with an idea of the story we were telling from our character's perspective, and for her as the conductor to have a vision of what the overall story really was about, and to bring that to fruition like she did at such an excellent level. It's amazing.
One of the things that I really thought was very relevant was the
Mhm.
discussion that each of you guys are having about your role as celebrities or people of influence, and how that's supposed to translate into how you guys speak about the ways of things happening in the world. I think that's very indicative of some of the things that we deal with now. Do you feel like it's still the same that people of influence, particularly people of color, should use their platforms to speak on the issues that are happening in the world?
I think you should be authentic to who you are and what you represent. I don't think you should get on something because it's in the media, or because someone's talking about it on the news, or because someone expects something of you. I'm a Christian and I believe in Jesus Christ. So when I'm out there, I tell people about my faith. I think that's what Muhammad Ali was doing.
Hmm.
He believed in Islam with his whole heart, and he thought it would be a blessing to people to share that. I'm a black man. And so when there's issues in the black community that affect me, I have something to say about it. So I'm going to speak my mind, or I'm going to make films. Whatever film I'm in, whatever project I do, I'm a black man doing that. Whether
Right.
I'm a cop or a astronaut, or whatever I'm playing, I'm a black astronaut, I'm a black cop. So that's going to naturally affect the work. Like I was saying to another person I was just interviewed by a little while ago, when Denzel did Training Day, there's nothing in that role that makes it a black role.
Right.
But because he's playing it, it obviously affects the connotation and the way the role is carried, and how everything about it changes once you put a black man in that role. So that is a powerful message. Him winning the Oscar in that role was a powerful message, and did make a difference, and did
Mm.
affect our expectations and our opportunities, and so because he did it with excellence, and so I think as an artist, your responsibility is to just be honest, to be truthful, and to do things as with the highest level of excellence that you can possibly do them, and then that's going to reverberate, and that's going to resonate in the world, and with somebody out there, it's going to connect.
I couldn't agree with you more. I read in, I was doing some research, but I read that you have wanted to play Muhammad Ali for most of your career. How did it feel when you found out I finally have the moment?
It was a dream come true. I mean, it was unreal. It was unreal. It's still wild to me. It's like, I remember my uncles would tell me, about Cassius Clay and about Muhammad Ali, and when I got a little older, people started saying, I kind of favored him a little bit, and my grandmother had his picture up on her wall in her living room, and all of her black stars that she loved.
Yeah.
She of them up on the wall, and but he was her favorite. And I remember my mom, saying like the first time she'd ever heard someone of a black person say that they were beautiful on television was when he had said that, and that it changed her and affected her so deeply. Just to see a black person say that they were beautiful on television,
Right.
heard of in her time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was just like, I mean, there's, you know, it was just a dream come true.
Well, I always say my dad is a retired actor, so I always tell people there's people who imitate, icons, and then those who actually become. And you really became. And what I loved about it is you showed Muhammad Ali in a very three-dimensional way, instead of, the one side that we always get to see. And I really, really appreciated that about your performance. So, congratulations and thank you very much for speaking to me. All the success to you in the film.
Thank you. God bless you. Stay safe.
God bless you.